I think that brings us nicely onto our next topic. And the next topic is, how the hell are we going to cope with this injury crisis that we've got on our hands at the moment? Mickey van der Ven out for the foreseeable future. It looks like it's going to be a long one and a bad one. Like Alex just mentioned as well, like that kind of injury for that kind of player is probably one of the worst that we could have hoped for. You've got Maddison, who could potentially be out. Romero suspended for the next 3 games. Udogie suspended for the next game. We're dropping like flies at the moment, Brian. And what backline would you like to see for the next game? And do you think that we can cope with the current injuries that we have?
Well, we're going to find out, aren't we? I mean, we were all hoping that we could just get to January with most of the squad intact. But this all to happen in one game. You just can't write this stuff for any team. Van der Ven, the injury is the worst bit of everything that happened about Monday. Even the result, in my opinion, because he is so pivotal to the high line, to everything we're doing. He is integral to this. Right, so we're talking Wolves. Obviously, we know we've got no left back and no centre back, and the centre backs are out. I think Emerson's going to move to left back if Ben Davies doesn't come through fixed. I know he wasn't fit to be mentioned or even on the bench on Monday. Dyer's going to start, and by the looks of it, it could well be Ashley Phillips or Pierre or Højbjerg could go left back and then put Emerson in the middle. But Ashley Phillips, as you said, and I saw it yesterday, has been taken out of the under 21s and he's with the first team. He's been on the bench. He was on the bench when we were at Burnley, wasn't he, Ben?
Yeah.
So he's been on the bench a couple of times. I've said from the get-go I really like him. I've got a lot of faith and confidence in this kid. And ironically, I've never met a Blackburn fan in my life. He's one of my closest friends here in Canada. So he spoke to me about the bits that they have seen of him, both in the Championship and behind the scenes. And they've spoken very, very highly of him. Very, very highly of him. Obviously, we've got to see if he does it in the Premier League. But I would not be... I heard you guys again talking about it in the update. If you're looking for a like-for-like, pacey, tall, strong, and you look at what we have, the answer is Ashley Phillips. Whether it's the right answer right now, we'll have to see. But you look at it, people going, he's too young, he ain't ready. Ledley King made his debut against Liverpool. All right, it was midfield. We know what happened there. Japhet Tanganga.
How old was Ledley, though? How old were they when they made their debut?
They're both older than Ashley. But what I'm trying
Ashley
to get
Phillips is 18. 18 years of age.
Listen, I know, and like they said, if you're young enough, you're good enough. So if you're good enough, you whatever. I always get that saying the wrong way around. But
if you're old enough, you're good. If you're good enough, you're old enough.
There we go. So I was saying young. Yeah, sorry, that's better, Ben. That sounds more like it. So I'm not saying I want to see him start, but if I do see him start, I won't be like, oh no, here we go. I will be happy to see what the boy can do. But I think Pierre did so well when he played as a makeshift left back on Monday that I think he will go Pierre, Dyer, and Emerson.
Pierre, Dyer, Emerson left back, Porro right back. And what do we do in the midfield if Maddison is out? Would you like to see Giovanni Lo Celso come in, or maybe Decky moved in, but then who goes on the wings? I mean, we've got it's probably the most difficult predicted lineup that we've ever had to do this weekend.
Yeah, I'm just wishing we had a certain boy at the club that's at Port Vale right now, because I would have loved to see him on the bench or at least amongst it in Alfie. It's going to be Lo Celso, I feel. Or I put Kulu, put him in the centre, and then have Johnson and Hill. Put Johnson back on the right, where and I have to say, I know we've gone off from the Chelsea game. One of the biggest things for me that I was annoyed about Monday was that Brennan Johnson was the one that was sacrificed. Yeah, because I thought he was flying before.
Who would you have sacrificed? I don't think you can sacrifice anyone else, though.
Well, that's the thing. I think the only reason it wasn't Kulu, like he went for a winger, and I think the only reason it wasn't Kulu was because of the work rate he does defensively. Would have been the only reason. But Brennan Johnson looked incredible for the 20-odd minutes he was on. But yeah, Kulu. That's another way. I put Kulu in the centre, and then Hill and Johnson.
Alex, do you think that we can cope with the situation that we've got ourselves into at the moment?
I'm not worried. I'm not worried because I had no expectations this season, and I knew it was coming.
But forget what your expectations were coming into the season. Do you think that we can carry on getting good results with what we're in?
I think we'll get through games. Whether what will happen, I don't know. I think we're in a period of an area where we don't know how this is going to turn out. But one thing we do know is that we're going to attack. I think I said on one channel, I said the team that started the last couple of games, it won't be the same at the end of the season, right? Because I think for me that there's going to be players that will have to step up majorly to start pushing other players, and that's it. Because that's the squad for me. You see what I'm saying? I know we haven't got the squad we want, and it's still to be built still, but I think if you're in the squad this season, you're there for a reason. He used that Fulham game, like I said. We'll go back to that Fulham game in the Carabao Cup, because he knew that this could happen. Throughout through the start of the season. At the first part of the season. So, I think players like Kulu needs to step up. I think Brian's absolutely spot on. He should be in the centre, and I think he needs to really make himself known now, because I've not been impressed with him. Yes, he works hard, and he did okay against Chelsea, but the last couple of games he's been absolute rubbish. I've got to be honest. He's been a fullback rather than more attacking player, right? I think the Celso needs to turn up as well, because he's just been. I mean, again, everyone went over the top about him in pre-season, yeah, because it was over the top, and then he hasn't turned up the whole season. It's time for you to turn up, because you obviously wanted to get a move out of the club. And Gil, I don't want to see this one-hit wonder like he was against Crystal Palace last season. Everyone going over the top about him last season when Conte against Crystal Palace. And I want to see some little bit more from him, and do what Højbjerg has done right now. Made himself known. I'm sorry, it's time now. And I want to see Ashley Phillips. I want to see Ashley Phillips, because he's the future. He's the future, I was told. So I want to see him.
So you put him straight in this weekend against Wolves?
Yes, 100%.
Ashley Phillips.
I'll put him next to him, and if Davis is fit, put him there as well. You know what I mean? I don't know who you're going to play left back, but the fact is, it's time now to start doing what you promised to do now. If you believe in these youngsters who are the Manchester United, the
class of 92.
The class of 92, according to Johnny, Brian's partner in crime. You know what I mean? This is the time and the place to put them in. You know what I mean? Because they're only going to learn, and it's a build. It's a build. That's why I'm going back to what I said in June. You see what I'm saying? So it all goes round in circles. It comes around back to the circle. You see what I'm saying? So I am not going round in circles. I'm talking sense. You see what I'm saying? So for me, bring it on. Bring it. Absolutely bring it. You see what I'm saying? As long as we don't relegate, as long as we just get in the top 10, we'll be happy. This is what we were saying, Tottenham fans, in June. We said.
So you're confident we can reach 40 points then, yeah, Alex?
40 points. We should be, because the thing is, look at Postecoglou. He's not worried. Does he look worried?
No,
this is the man that
need 5 wins. We only need 5 wins. Down. Sorry,
I'm being Mr. Box Office. You see what I'm saying? This is the character now coming out. Everyone doesn't like me. Don't like Mr. Box Office. Don't like characters now. They like truth. They like specials. Don't like Mr. Box Office now. But Mr. Box Office is turned up now. Yeah, this is the thing. Yeah, right. It's like, we believe in Postecoglou. Yeah, we're playing the tunes about Postecoglou. Yeah, you see his demeanor. He says, "So what? Do I look like I've got my squad? This ain't Conte. This ain't Mourinho. So let's believe. Let's believe. Yeah? And let's try and enjoy the ride. This is what I was told. Yeah? So we're going to find out if this team's got the minerals, and that's it. Yeah? That's all I need to say.
You believe that we're going to stay in the Premier League this season?
Well, we should. We're going to stay in the Premier League. We've got to. Come on now. You know what I mean? But it's like, come on. It's like, oh, Van der Ven's injured. Oh, Romero's not playing. Oh, my gosh. It's like, well, that's why we've got a squad thing. You know what I mean? Come on.
Do we?
Come on. Bloody hell. If you don't know, get to know. Back to you when I'm done.
I'm looking at our fixtures now. We got Wolves away, Villa at home, City away, West Ham at home, and Newcastle away. Newcastle at home in the next 5 games. The next 3, Wolves, Villa, and Man City, we got to go to with 100% without Coutinho, Romero, and Van de Ven. That is pretty much settled at the moment. Sim, how worried are you about these next 5 games? I'm looking at the Wolves game, and I think that we can just about cope in that game without them. West Ham at home, I think we could potentially cope in that game. It's going to be very hard, though, with the likes of Jarrod Bowen and Mohamed Kudus in the form that they're on. But I'm looking at the other games, and I'm really struggling to see us getting wins in those games with the form that they're on. Villa away from home are not the greatest, so maybe in that game we can sneak something. But do you think we can cope?
I think we can be competitive, but I think these injuries will cost us when it comes to the kind of margins in the Premier League, how fine they are. When you've got a defender like Van de Ven, who with his, let's be honest, he's the fastest centre back in the Premier League. I'm just thinking, even off the top of my head, how many times like there's been like a through ball where it looks like the opposition striker is going to be through on goal, going to have a chance, and Van de Ven just comes out of nowhere and sweeps up the ball and wins possession back for Spurs. It's almost like a safety blanket he provides for our back line. So not having him there, whoever replaces him, it's going to be a very tall order to replace that kind of assurance he brings. And I think it gives, not only to give that assurance, it gives the confidence to the rest of the team that they can just fly forward, commit players, knowing that they have Van de Ven there, that any ball over the top, if it's slightly over here or not perfect, or even if it is perfect, you're still then in a one-on-one with Van de Ven, and you have to get around him, you have to beat him, and he's been near impenetrable for a lot of the season. So without that kind of safety blanket that we've had for a lot of the season, and especially if it's someone like Dyer coming in who doesn't have nowhere near the attributes that Van de Ven has in that aspect, I am worried. But what I would say is, I don't think it's just going to lead to the complete collapse of our team or anything like that. I still think we're going to be good on the ball. I still think that we're going to do a lot of attacking. I still think that we're going to play good football, and we're going to hurt teams, and teams aren't going to like playing against us. All it does mean, though, is right now, basically, from what I've been seeing, especially against the not as good teams, is when we're dominating the ball a lot, and we're trying to pick the lock, and then they get counterattacks on the turnovers, and on the few occasions they're getting these counterattacks, Van de Ven's there to sweep up, and it keeps basically it keeps the pressure on the opposition. Now that this injury's happened, basically what it means is when they do get those opportunities to attack, we're going to be a lot more exposed than we were, unfortunately. So it probably will lead to, I'm not guaranteed to more goals conceded, but definitely more good chances conceded. I think that's definitely be the consequence. But that doesn't mean our whole team is going to completely break down. It just means we're probably going to be less functional defensively, and we're probably going to concede more quality chances, and we're going to have to make up for it in some other way, which I'm not really sure what way that is. But I can't see a situation, doesn't matter who we put in, that they're going to be able to sweep up like Van de Ven does. So I think we are going to concede more chance in this period, but that doesn't mean that we're not going to still be playing good football. It doesn't mean that we can't outscore the opposition, and it doesn't mean that we can't remain competitive. But what it means is, against Man City, I can't see us getting a result in that game. But I would say against Wolves, I think we should have enough to probably get through that game, given that they have a poor attack. But Villa's in the balance for me. I think that's very 50-50. That could go either way, given the injuries that we have, to be honest. And I would even say the same for West Ham and Newcastle. I would say by both those games, considering West Ham rely on hitting us on counters, so they're going to be planning for that. So without Van de Ven, that's even going to be more difficult. And Newcastle, a very aggressive team. I would say once we played the better teams, it's going to be a lot more difficult. 100%. 100%.
Go on, Alex.
I just wanted to say that even with our full team, Newcastle, Aston Villa, and West Ham were going to be challenging.
Man City, yeah.
And Man City as well. I put in those games out saying that those are going to be challenging regardless, because I think Aston Villa are going to be our kryptonite, because they could do the same thing they've done to Brighton, like West Ham have done to Brighton as well, and we're playing like Brighton, aren't we? So I listen. I'm not I actually concur what Sim is saying in the day. You know what I mean? It's like, but I'm not afraid. I can't be afraid of this because, like I said, we're in uncharted waters at the moment. You see what I'm saying? And Postecoglou is gonna do what he's always done, attack. So we just got to just wait and see how he gets on with it, and that's it. I think Wolves is a challenge, though. I will say that, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I
dude,
don't go into
let me
those
just-
games thinking we got no chance, but I do think
No.
it's going to be a lot more difficult now. Go on, Brian.
Sam, I think what we've got to add here is what you were saying. Basically, piggybacking off what you said about them having more chances created. I think that defence has been so solid in a bedrock for this season. I think this now puts more on the attackers to start putting their chances away. We have like 20 chances a game. God knows how many on target. We've got to get more people than Son carrying the goal contributions. There's so many opportunities. Like I've seen it on a few games, even Chelsea, where we're having one too many passes. Take a bloody shot or get. We've got to, whilst these defence is going to be, like you said, and rightly because of the personnel we have, there's going to be more attacks coming our way, which gives even more weight on the attack. So when you have your chance, make sure you're getting these on target. Make sure you're more clinical, because if they can click, they may be able to, like I said, the safety blanket and Mickey van der Ven. If we're being more productive up there, then it will take more of the weight off and back there while we're weaker.
Yeah.
It's absolutely spot on. But Brian, like I said, this kind of injury crisis couldn't have come at a worse time, pretty much, with our hardest run of the season as of yet coming up. With Wolves away, Villa at home, Man City away, West Ham at home, Newcastle at home, with Mickey van der Ven and Romero definitely out for the next 3 games. Romero will be back for West Ham, but not Mickey. How many points do we get out of our next 5, do you reckon?
So Wolves, you know what? Wolves is such a hard place for us. We seem to always, we sometimes find the way, but recently it's been very, very hard there. With these injuries, my heart is saying win, my head is saying draw, but I'm going to go with my heart and say 3 points.
Love that.
Villa at home. I mean, thank God for once. I'm actually happy we've got an international break. So these players that are out just have an extra 2 weeks to, not saying Van der Ven will be ready, but it's 2 weeks where we're not playing any games and he's not missing. Villa at home, like I said, like you said, Ben, home they're a fortress, away they're not as good as they are at home. So depending who's back and who's available, let's say a draw there, so that's 4 points. Then who we got? Then it's Man City.
Yeah.
Is it at home or away?
Away.
All right, let's just go. Let's just be real and say defeat there. So we're still on 4 out of 9. And what's the next 2? West Ham
and Newcastle both at home.
Let's go for 6 points there. So I'm going for 10 out of 15. But
I would bite your hand off for that now.
I would be shocked.
This is me speaking, Mr. Apparently Mr. Negative and always moaning. This is me going for 10. But out of those 5, if you said to me as well, 2 wins, 3 draws, I'd take that as well, to be honest.
I think I can't see more than 7, to be honest.
7. Where are those 7 points coming?
So negative, Sim.
Wolves, Villa,
3 at
West
Wolves.
Ham. Beat West Ham, beat Wolves, draw Villa, lose to Newcastle and City.
That's what I had. I had exactly that. To beat Wolves, draw with Villa, beat West Ham, and lose the other 2.
I'd be surprised if we get more.
Would you say that's a positive return if we get that?
I don't think it's terrible. I'd say in terms of keeping us in the top 4 hunt, I think that's acceptable, considering we built ourselves a nice little cushion in the beginning of the season. So I wouldn't. Would I say if you offered that to me now, would I take it? I wouldn't say I would take it, but I would say that wouldn't be the worst. Wouldn't be a bad return out of those games.
Alex, how many points can you see in those 5 games?
4 to 6 points.
4 to 6. Wow.
Yeah.
Where are those points coming?
Wolves. I'm unsure about Villa. Whether that's going to be a loss or a draw. Man City loss, draw against West Ham because they'll be motivated, and I think they got players that can can hurt us. Newcastle definitely will beat us. Nottingham Forest, I think we can win, and Everton, I think we can scrape through if we get the first goal.
Do we have a nice run after this set of games?
Yeah, after this set of fixtures, we've got Forest away, Everton at home, Brighton away, and Bournemouth at home.
Okay, so
that takes us to the end of the year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, these next 5 are. Yeah.
Just quickly, Ben and Sim, are Newcastle playing in the Champions League the week or the midweek before us, or is it done by then?
It could be a pivotal game for them. 10th of December. There's usually one game around that time, isn't there? The last game.
Yeah,
because that could play into our hand.
Yeah,
if they have to qualify.
You've got a good
but
point.
you know, after this period that we go through, after we play Newcastle and Man City, right until April, the only big top 6 teams that we have until then are Chelsea away in February and Man United away in January. Apart from that, we've got no top 6 teams up until the last month of the season. How mad is that?
It's mad, but it depends on what form we're on, Ben. It depends on what form we are. You don't know what sort of mood we're going to be in. You see what I'm saying? You know?
Yeah.
It's just you just can't tell. You see what I'm saying? Because you can look at those fixtures and think it's very favourable at the moment, but until you're in that situation, you don't know. You see what I'm saying? Because look at the situation we're in at the moment with the injuries. You know? The only thing that's kept me I'm calm about is Postecoglou. I've got to be honest. He's the one that's keeping me calm at the moment, because for me,
you should start singing his name then.
Well, no, you get it. I love you, man. I love you. I love you too. I love you too. But yeah, it's just. I think he's just kept it calm, you know, because I think he knew this is coming. You see what I'm saying? I don't think he's overruled by the situation. You see what I'm saying? I think the difference between him and Conte and Mourinho is just it's so far away, isn't it? Really, the way that they react to things. You see what I'm saying? I think he's just taking it on his stride, and that's it for me. So I think it's just the situation. But I think there's just games there that I've got teams that can really catch us really badly.
Alex,
especially Aston Villa.
Alex, what's your back 4 on Saturday? I want to hear it. Who you starting?
My back 4 would be Porro, Ashley Phillips. If Davis is fit, I would put him in centre back. Yeah, because I don't want Dyer there. And Emerson.
That's your back 4.
Yeah,
Phillips,
that's
Davis.
My back 4.
Because
I think
I would go for Porro, Dyer. Depends if Emerson. Depends if Davis is fit or not. Let's say if he is fit, I'd go Porro, Dyer, Emerson, Davis.
Porro, Dyer, Emerson, Davis.
And if Davis is not fit, I would go Porro, Dyer, Phillips, Emerson. I think I'm just going to put Phillips in there. I would consider Porro, Højbjerg, Phillips. Emerson.
That's what I want to see. I want to see Phillips, Højbjerg, the backline. I really don't want to see Dyer.
Who do you think he will play? Because I think Dyer will play.
I think to be honest, against Wolves, it's not a problem to play Dyer. I think if Pedro Neto was playing, it would be a bigger, question to ask. But I don't want to see Dyer against, the teams that can really hurt us, like City. Playing a high line with Dyer against City is just asking for it.
If Dyer plays and he makes a mistake, right? What is going to be your reaction?
Get him off.
Because this is the point I'm making at the moment. Yeah, you kind of got to look at it, Postecoglou, right? You got Ashley Phillips there, right? Who looks more suits the system. I'll put Davis there all day long. I actually agree with you. You're making some good points there, Højbjerg. I'll put him there as well. Yeah, you got to look at it like this. If you're putting Dyer there and you know what he's like, you got to look at Postecoglou and say, well, okay, if he makes a mistake, well, that's your choice, mate. You know what I mean? You know, and that's my issue at the moment with Dyer, because we all know we wanted him gone in the summer. You get what I'm saying? So for me, I wouldn't play him. We had to play him.
What's Brian's back for? I want to hear it.
So I would go. See, this is the thing. I mean, I would definitely like to see Phillips. So Porro definitely plays right back. Unless God, can you imagine if he picks up anything now before Wolves? Bloody hell. So Porro right back. I think you're going to have to put Emerson at left back. I wouldn't mind. Do you know what? I wouldn't even mind seeing Højbjerg as centre back. I wouldn't even mind seeing that as a centre back. But what you look at it when you bring Ashley Phillips in, do you want a midfielder who's now been reverted to a defender to guiding you through the game, or do you want a defender, i.e. Davies or Dyer? All right, they're not future of Spurs or whatever, or particularly brilliant, but would you rather a defender see you through it? So yeah, I would say, it's so hard.
I would mind seeing Emerson at centre back.
Emerson and who? Phillips.
But the thing is, we can't play Emerson at centre back in this game because we're running out of fullbacks. So once Udogie comes back,
left back. Maybe Højbjerg left back and that.
I'd rather Højbjerg centre back, Emerson left back. I mean, when Højbjerg moved into centre back, I thought that's the best that we saw him, to be honest. But I think
you have to be inverted, don't you? You have to be inverted as well, don't you? So I think that's why Emerson needs to be there as well, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay. So there we go. Højbjerg, Davies in the centre, Porro, Emerson. Højbjerg and Phillips.
Højbjerg, Phillips. So you're putting Phillips straight in?
I would do. I'm like I said earlier, I am a big fan of his.
I think if we're putting Phillips straight in, I'd have to put him with Dyer.
Why is that?
Just because if Højbjerg is playing centre back, he's gonna need help from his other centre back just to manage his way through it. I don't think Højbjerg managing Phillips as centre back is a great situation, in my opinion. So I'd rather put him with Dyer. But yeah,
I don't want Dyer managing anyone.
Yeah, but at least he's centre back by trade.
I don't want Dyer there because the problem I have with it is that we've done this under Conte. We think if he has a good performance, he's Virgil van Dijk all of a sudden. You know what I mean?
Well, to be fair, if I'm looking at the Newcastle situation, and a year ago, Lascelles was finished. He was terrible. No one wanted him, and he's playing week in, week out at the moment for Newcastle and playing really well.
Yeah, he is playing well.
So got me thinking.
You're comparing Lascelles though to
not Lascelles though. Lascelles,
Lascelles to Dyer. I'm sorry.
Was Lascelles that much better than Dyer? I don't know. I don't think so.
I'm sorry, but I cannot. I had to apologise to David Harris because of this player. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So I see. So you got an agenda? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I can't do it. I can't do it. Yeah, because David Harris was the one for me, and he was the only one that was saying that this guy's absolutely bang average, and he is. I'm sorry.
He is bang average, but I'm just saying, doesn't like.
But we're in the situation that we're in. We're in the situation that we're in.
I'd rather have Davis and put Dorrington there because at least they're the future. Well, not Davis is not the future, but I'd rather have because I think Davis for me is more mobile, and I think you need to be mobile in the system as well for me. And I think if Dyer makes a mistake, you know what's going to happen. You know exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's very true.